can only mean one thing, can't it, eh?
Oh dear. It's profile time, and don't worry, don't be afraid.
Yeah.
Because this man is a giant, but he's a gentle giant. It's William John Charles.
Known as John Charles, I believe.
CBE. John Charles, the great Welsh footballer, called the gentle giant. From his days in Italy, but we'll come to that all in good time. Rated by many as the greatest all-round footballer ever to come from Wales, and even further than that, Britain. You know, one of the great British players of all time, really. He was comfortable playing centre-half and centre-forward, and was said by many to be world-class in both positions.
Like Chris Sutton.
I only ask you not to cheapen this section, and you already have. All right? He was never cautioned or sent off during his entire career.
Wow.
And that was due to his philosophy of never kicking or intentionally hurting opposing players. And as I said, he was 6'2", especially back in the 50s, you know, people not as tall as they are now, the average height, nicknamed the Gentle Giant.
The fact that he played in defence as well. For some of his...
yeah, exactly.
Back then, as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Players like Hardman Kick Your Bonts.
Good player.
Yeah.
Good player.
Solid.
Yeah. Undoubtedly played for Leeds.
Well, yeah.
That's why he was faith.
Well, John Charles did play for Leeds, actually. That was where his career kicked off, and he was scouted at a very young age. And he signed for them kind of around the age of 17. And he was played at a number of positions for Leeds, at right back, centre half, left half, up front, and all the rest of it. But he made his first team debut as a centre-back for Leeds in a friendly against Queen of the South, the Scottish club, in 1949. He was asked to mark the Scottish centre-forward, who had just been 10 days before had played in a 3-1 Scottish winning side at Wembley and run the England defence ragged, who was called Billy Hulliston. After this match, the score was 0-0, and Hulliston said of the 17-year-old John Charles, he's the best centre-half I've ever played against.
That's amazing. That is amazing. High praise indeed. That's superb.
That's right. He even did his national service between 1950 and 52, and dabbled in a bit of boxing, cricket, running, and basketball.
Yeah,
probably all at the same time.
Yeah,
so, supremely talented man. This was. He had a very good first touch, good control. He was one of the best headers of the ball, people would say.
That was when the ball was tough to head it.
Exactly. Yeah. And so John Charles, he was played up front for Leeds. After a while, and he scored 26 goals in his first season up front, and all in all he scored 150 league goals for Leeds.
The weird thing was that he scored like something like 40 goals for Leeds while he was playing in defence for Wales. Weirdly.
Oh,
that's
really?
right.
Like,
he used to play at the back for the national team. Yeah.
What, play up front for Leeds?
Yeah. How good was the Wales forward for him not to get a game?
Yeah.
Well, he's got the Leeds record for most goals in a season, 42 goals in the 53-54 season. All this got him interest from abroad, and in 1957 he went to Juventus for a world record fee. I think it was £65,000 at the time.
Really unusual then to make that sort of...
Well, massively, yeah. In 57 he also captained Wales for the first time. So it was all going off for him then. And British journalists actually predicted that he would flop in Italy. They said... because he was a real gentleman. It cannot be understated.
He won't succeed in those foreign shows, and that's a fact.
Was the direct quote of the day. And his reputation as a real gentleman, they said, the strict referees and the theatrical antics of the players, he won't handle it.
I think and it is true to a certain extent these days, but back then Italians were known for being sort of especially cynical.
Well, there was a lot of even more corruption than what there is now, allegedly.
Yes, you understand why I said that.
And yes, I think. I mean, to the point of he's talked about one Italian club president bought all the league referees lavish Christmas presents one year. Do you know what I mean? And all this kind of behaviour. He said it was terrible, and he said the players too were very. They were a lot less physical, and they were shocked by what they considered the barbarism of the English game. And the Italian players were very much honing their diving skills and their shirt-pulling tactics, and this is back in the 50s.
Yeah.
So maybe sin bins should have been introduced then. I don't know, but he said Charles kind of he didn't have a completely an old-fashioned British attitude on it. He summed it up and said, the Continentals will have to accept that football is a man's game, but the British have to accept that football is an art. So he's kind of saying halfway between the two.
Straddling both, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. In his first season in Serie A, which, you know, even back then was all about the defence, he scored 29 goals. He won Italian Football of the Year, and in his first 5 years, he won 3 championships and 2 Italian Cups. And as I say, the Italian Football of the Year, player for the Italian League.
He was loved as well, wasn't he?
Absolutely loved, yeah. He scored 108 goals in 155 games for Juventus. And in 1997, he was voted as best foreign player ever to have played for Juventus.
97, that's some feat.
That's ahead of Platini.
Yeah, they've had a few players, yeah.
But he said, you know, it's interesting to compare the styles of the game back then, and I don't think it's too different now, the different attitudes. He said training was very different. Fitness was paramount importance in Britain, but ball skills were more valued in Italy. The theory in Britain was that if you starved a player of the ball during the week, he would be chomping at the bit come Saturday afternoon.
That's crazy, that is. I remember reading about that.
Well, yeah, he said, I've often found the British system makes a player, even if he is hungry for the ball, completely incapable of using it when he gets it.
Yeah. I mean, that was the sort of perceived wisdom and the accepted wisdom for a long time in England.
Oh, a very long time.
If you starve anyone of food, you're not going to eat food properly, are you?
Exactly, yeah.
You're
going to get it all down yourself.
Good point, Pete.
There you go.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah.